Hello, I am in Goma, capital of North Kivu province, in the east of the Democratic Republic of Congo. Today I am received by the coordinator of a FCM 23, Mr. Corneille Nangaa.
Mr. Steve, hello. I sincerely appreciate your presence here and thank you immensely for joining us. You're very welcome.
Thank you, we finally have our interview.
I'm truly yours.
Okay. Are you all right?
I'm fine.
It is beautiful in Goma.
Ah, yes, I believe. God has graced us with everything, nature and all things good that one could desire. So everything is perfectly fine.
I will proceed directly to posing the questions that I'm able to.
Shock?
But let me be a journalist.
I understand your independence. Please feel free to ask any questions. Let's engage in a discussion about Congo, shall we?
Mr. Coordinator, the human rights situation here in the AFC, you are accused of having killed nearly 3,000 people when you arrived. What is your response?
Well, first of all, I would like to say thank you and welcome you to Goma. And before I talk about human rights issues, another question allows me to pay tribute to the brave lions of Saraboy, the Congolese Revolutionary Army, those on the ground and those fallen, as well as its Chief of Staff, Commander Gerald Zutani Makina. My tributes also to those fighters and cadres of the AFC who gave themselves, who sacrificed themselves, and who are still sacrificing themselves for the liberation of Congo. Now back to your touching question.
Human rights.
Human rights and the
3,000 people.
We're engaged in a struggle. Fight for change, fight for peace, fight for the dignity of the Congolese people. There is a price to pay, but this struggle is in every sense. There is the military struggle, but there is also the communicational struggle, but there is also the struggle of lies. Lies are used as a weapon. Those are allegations. Liar. And for that, I'm not going to say anything. I'll just tell you that I have lies. The issue is clear that these are lies, allegations, and a report is being presented.
Who will be very soon on the issue before your arrival?
Here or before the capture of Goma by the forces of the AFC, there are two national deputies. I can quote an Iberfo Butail who decried the situation. There were killings here every day. He even talked about the departure of some officers from the test lighthouses because there was harassment in the city of Goma. What is the situation today in the cities or areas under your control?
Administration, tribute to our agents.
We arrived in Goma, we found the looting was stopped, no bank was looted, the population was more or less taken care of. And today, there are testimonies that can go a week, 2 weeks, without hearing a shot. All of this is the work done by our law enforcement officers. There are changes, but in the meantime, it's a process. Kinshasa, let's say, before entering Goma, it was a powder keg. You have different forces in this city, international forces. The South Africans were there, the Tanzanians were there, the Malawians were there. You had more than 3,000 European mercenaries. We don't often talk about them enough. More than 3,000 European mercenaries were there. You have, in addition to the Burundians who were in the operations next to FRDC, there was, of course, the F of Air. And, of course, we must not count the civilians, our compatriots, to whom we have distributed weapons like bread, and we call them the Wazalin. And there were You have to count the MONUSCO contingents because they had gone to the conflict. All these heterogeneous forces without a single command. It was a powder keg that had created insecurity, bothering barriers everywhere, the traders, and it was the first targets. They were killed every day. But since we arrived, we have put order. Yes, I'm not saying that the situation has become. We have also become heaven. It is an ongoing process, and thanks to the professionalism of our forces, the situation is stabilizing. The LES, the civil authorities are installed more or less. It was found that there was no water. Water was installed. They had cut off the electricity. The electricity came back. Communication is there. Yes, other challenges remain, of course, but the security situation is stabilizing. And at least it is a challenge that remains because we must continue to recover the weapons distributed to civilians and everyone. There are bandits still circulating and we go out. That's the situation. So today the situation tends rather towards the good.
Okay, and I just talked to the people. Honestly, people can't take it anymore. No bank in Goma. Your CO case doesn't seem to be operational yet. What are you going to do?
The situation there, you say to yourself that the population can no longer take it because the banks have been closed. This is a deliberate decision taken by Mr. Tilombo to punish the people of the East because they are either uniform. The banks are closed. On the orders of Tshisekedi, what I would like to say that for that only proceeds from a war crime. This is not a war tactic, not at all. Banks are closed by Kinshasa. I would like to say here, take the international community as a witness. The money held by these banks does not belong to the Congolese state, nor to the Tshisekedi family, and even less to the bankers. The money belongs to savers, to the population, teachers, farmers, economic operators, doctors who live in the East. They made the decision to close the banks. Actually, it's an attempted robbery. They want to steal whose money? People who want. But this is a difficult situation that we are dealing with. Let's not complain. What does a teacher have to do with the revolution? In any case, we leaders of the revolution today, we have no bank accounts. In the meantime, faced with this situation, we are not going to sit idly by. We are taking alternative solutions. And that's where you're talking about the DECO case. It's not my decorative case. The decorative case is not mine. It's among the palliative solutions that we have undertaken and that we are in the process of operationalizing. In this sense, there is not only we have established a regulatory authority for the economic, financial, and insurance sector. This body will play the role of the central bank, and it is this body which will necessarily give, and which will in particular give licenses for the creation of new banks. But other alternatives are also there. Among other things, the use today of virtual currency, electronic money. It's happening in other countries today. In Kenya, when you go to Tanzania, Rwanda, or Uganda, even to pay for taxis, we pay by mobile. Solutions like this are underway. With Cadeco being there, we begin the reform. As for Cadeco, it will become a bank in its own right.
So you seem to tell me that your administration is good or the movement is well administered.
But we organize, okay, we represent the state and we manage. Difficult situations we face. We don't go to Washington, we don't go, to Paris to whine like the other one does. We find solutions to our problems, and that's the reality.
There is a scandal that has just happened in Kinshasa with the words of Nicolas Kasadi. Is it the words of Nicolas Kasadi?
Are you shocked or are you...
Or comfort you?
No, I told you last time that any Congolese who aspires to change is a member of the AFC, and Nicolas is the first. He is a member of the AFC, more or less, even if he cannot do it physically yet, but he already does it in terms of ideology. The AFC advocates change, and Nicolas experienced this certain witness. What he said is outrageous. But it is all the more important now that the population is proving us right. The Tshisekedi regime is a band of tribal thieves, crooks, hijackers. In reality, it is that Nicolas he was the one who had the box of these hijackers and the leader of the known gangs, the leader of the gangs and these of this robbery. It is himself, Mr. Thielen. What he said, I tell him another hat because he told the truth. What he said, in any case, you have not yet known, you know what is happening today at the Treasury level. Everything that goes into the Treasury comes out at night and goes to the presidential family, or at least the presidency. You know what happens even to pay the agents. Now we're doing classes. At the companies, we emptied all the cash. State enterprises or state establishments like Natal are all that comes and is not. There are no more rules, and this is all the more serious as all the institutions are infantilized. Parliament cannot exercise any control, and any minister who even dares say no, such a company we will do a control. It is himself, the thief in chief, the President Lemesitu Lombo, who calls on the assemblies, members of the national deputies and senators not to call on the ministers, who ask the minister to stop suspending or take any disciplinary actions against the bad managers undertaken. This is serious. We have never experienced this, and the country is with its back to the wall. We have infantilized the institutions. We have put in terror so that no one dares to raise a word. And all this is serious. It is simply unacceptable. And that is the reason why I'm telling you that every Congolese is a member of the AFC, because every Congolese today aspires to change what we have, to sweep away this scum. Change is expected and expected of everyone. Are you criticizing?
The management that decided roles was simultaneous. The M23, you are in the mines, in particular in the mines of Dubai, through which the FC and sing the ores it exploits.
No, correct first.
How am I going to rectify?
No, you're in the mines. The alliance raises Congo or the M23. We are not in the mines.
But you control Dubai, we do.
We are currently overseeing the freed area. When you have ministers, then you're not managing mines. I'm neither a miner nor a businessman. When it comes to Rubaya, what's there to discuss?
And how do Rubia minerals come out?
I'm coming. Let me answer you, Mr. Wendy. We arrived in Rubaya just 11 months ago, and as soon as we arrived, even before we arrived in Dubai, we made a decision, and that decision was a year ago. This is the decision, however, formal ban on all members or all executives of the AFCM23, military as civil as political, pessimistic, either in the exploitation and steel but in the marketing of mineral substances, mining activity in the territories which are ours due to the constraints that we suffer. It is an activity at half-mast. That is why we need to mobilize the economic operators. As for why it is a burn, the banking issue is important. We continue insecurity in some areas of operation is still there, and that we get out. But the question, let's still ask ourselves the question before the ASCM 23 arrived in Rubaya, before this ore that was exploiting. But it was the Tshisekedi family who exploited this. It was the Tshisekedi family who took this mine from Mr. Nangaa. Where are they exporting? They were still exporting through Rwanda. They were still exporting through Uganda. They were still exporting through Burundi. No mineral substance goes from here to the Kritasa worms because there is no road. Why don't you ever ask that question? She says, but how did you do it?
Yes, I reaffirm the alliance. 23 Congo is neither in mines nor in business. We aim for changes in the country and the pride of the Congolese.